And we should now be live. This should be mostly functioning. Just wait for everybody to kind of get in here, and then I'll do my little spiel and we will start our content for the day. I don't know why, I'm kind of like in a box, so I always feel this need to, so over here, this is one corner, so I've been standing in the corner for like a minute now. It's like, you know, I need all this space. Let me walk around my prison cell to the other corner over here. This would be a very big and nice, spacious prison cell. I'm not trying to make that comparison. Jacob Malone, good to see you. Says, dude's getting yoked. Not quite. I don't know if you saw the title. I'm gonna let the stream populate, and then we'll talk about the title and do some of that kind of stuff. How are we doing in terms of music? Too loud, too quiet? Last time seemed fine to me, to be quite honest. The music helps tie it all together. A little fun retro wave. I can't believe I'm actually sticking with this. I had this sort of realization, I think it was last night. I was like, man, I'm tired and I don't feel great. Maybe I could just not work out on Monday. Maybe I could just skip and sort of not do this. Well, that would be easy if exactly the week before I hadn't started this YouTube series called Bed To Brawn. And since I'm the guy who's probably best in the world at starting series and not finishing them, I really didn't want to immediately flake out on this one. So today, if you look at the video title, it'll say the bare minimum discipline. And the reason for that is I'm a bit more tired than normal. I'm a bit more run down. I've been doing things here. You'll know why. When you see the high effort, insane physical output video, you'll know why. But I'm a lot more tired than I want to be. And beyond that, I'm also kind of pushing my luck on being sore. So one of the unfortunate things about recovery and physical activity in that, in my opinion, is that some days you do just need to sort of put in the bare minimum effort. Some days you need to sort of like, what's the right word? Go through the motions, get your stretches in, get your mobility going, keep your body active, get a couple of zone minutes, but you don't need to push yourself super hard. Last Monday, I pushed myself a little bit. I was excited. I was kind of ready to show off here. So today is probably going to be more like a drifter normal workout, a sort of a lower intensity one that focuses on supporting muscles, because I feel like death right now. And I don't want to feel more like death tomorrow. So what we start with is the same as last time, just stretching. And by the way, if any of you guys want to give me something to talk about, by all means in the chat, please do. That's extremely helpful. I don't want to get this a little closer. I got some mounts coming in the mail to like better hook up the camera, and also to put the monitor in a better position. Keith M says, I get it. I'm having to recover from being in bed for 45 days due to an autoimmune disease. Lost a lot of muscle. 3 magic words: embrace the suck. Yeah, you're right. Prasanna Sayami, the cat's doing great. She might stop by. Yeah, we're going to be doing this even if it is just a little bit at a time, and I'm going to try to keep my private parts off the stream for today. Feline update. Oh, Krista's doing great. She's big and fat. She's gotten very comfortable. She still has chosen me as the primary human. So even though I did not want a cat, no matter where I go, the cat will follow me, which is both cute and annoying. Another thing that I wanted to talk about while I'm here on the floor and I can't see the chat as well, is that I went on an incredible journey down a rabbit hole into VR content over this past week. I've just used the crap out of my Oculus Quest. With limited abilities to travel, sometimes like watching travel videos or like getting out in the world, is really nice to be able to do on the headset. It gives you that sort of virtual experience of travel. It's not the same as the real thing. It's not as good, I know that. But I've been stuck inside for a long, long time. So for me, that's fantastic. And we're gonna give just a little bit more. Oh my God, I hate that so much. I know this isn't even stretching very much, but I have the world's tightest hamstrings. And I also started finding 360 VR music videos, which I kind of like, okay, I'll sign in on the Quest, I'll load up a playlist on PC, I'll go check them out when I'm stoned. And I bumbled into one. I've just added a video that looked cool that said VR 180, and I kind of haven't been doing those because in the past, VR 180 was kind of cheapy cheap. It'd be like one camera sensor, it's just half a 360, nothing special. But then I noticed the quality was absurdly high. I was like, well, YouTube doesn't even support this. What's going on here? And I looked and it was stereoscopic 180. VR side-by-side 180 stereoscopic vision. Because if you think about it, what 360 video do is essentially projecting an image that warps and stretches around your head, but it's a flat image, so that as you look around like a gimbal, you'll see things. But a 180 image is stereoscopic, one for left eye, one for right eye. Because when you see things, it's kind of like, you know, when you close one eye and look, the world looks a little bit flatter. That's because your brain does that automatically. So the side-by-side is much more natural. It's like what your eyes would probably actually see in the real world, because you have one lens for each eye and they're both focused on the same object. So huge, massive increase in quality. Night and day on these videos. I usually do this side first, okay. So I started watching these stereoscopic VR 180 videos and was completely blown away by them. The quality, music, how personal and close and intense. I actually watched one, there's a lot of like club stuff because that's easy to film. There's one metal band and you're like on stage with the metal band in the seat of the drummer. So you were like seeing him play the drums, and it cuts to the lead vocalist, who I'll just call Nathan Explosion because my entire education about metal comes from Metalocalypse. Just gets right up in the camera and screams in your face, super loud, very realistically. It's very different to see like a metal band at a distance and understand the music and the sort of growliness versus. How did you get this same tattoo, my man? The yin yang? I had that one custom made. It's wild though. Welcome, familiar oddity. And it was fascinating. So why am I telling this story? Why is this relevant to the stream? Well, I got super into the tech, and then I discovered there's a company in France that sells a VR 180 webcam. It'll do 4K 30, 180, and it's a literal webcam that plugs in and plays via USB. It costs 200 euros, which I'll just call $200. Very similar to a Logitech webcam, like a Brio or something like that, except it can stream and what I would assume would be, oh God, I gotta really work this over. Very high quality, stereoscopic VR. And I was like, okay, well guys, hear me out. What if I took this stream, this very sort of normal stream where I'm just like here on the floor doing floor things, and instead had a VR camera over there so that you could feel like you were literally in the room with me. I think that's amazing. I'm super into that. Reality is that means 98% of my audience would not be able to view the content because VR headsets are not very popular. Okay, so I'm gonna go do, we're gonna do, what are these? Pelvic tilts, glute bridges, and then some little just stretches. Let's start with pelvic tilts. It looks like I'm doing nothing. What I'm actually doing is lifting my pelvis up and flattening my back against the floor. Just pick it up and hold it for a few seconds. It's really good at moving your spine into a more friendly position if you have spondylolisthesis or a number of low back pain conditions, because it kind of squeezes it nice and flat. So yeah, I was super into that, and then I thought, well, you can multi-stream on YouTube, and I have one thing you can see probably on the camera is there's a little port on the wall over here. That's an Ethernet port, because every room in my house has an Ethernet port, at least one. Most of them have two. So what I could do is run a secondary stream in VR so that Bed To Brawn is every single day, one standard cam and one VR cam. Proc Prime, good to see you. I'm super into that. I'm super into pushing the edges and boundaries of technology. I've been talking to my wife about painting this whole room green so that we can just change the background to different, like, silly stuff. So these, I need to get much better at. There's a certain task that I have planned for every Thursday, which is date night, that requires these particular muscles to be activated. So today we're probably going to do some of these with weights. That's just sort of to get me warmed up, because the last time I gave that particular maneuver a try, I discovered that I could not bear the weight as well as I wanted. I did it anyway at the expense of my own back pain and maybe hurting me a little bit, but I'm gonna try to get that stronger. That needs to improve. That is unacceptably weak. But yeah, I went on this like deep rabbit hole, like diving into VR content, and almost rapidly within days became obsessed with it. And sort of the problem I have is that I always want to make different kinds of content. For a guy whose name is Drifter and whose series is in depth, I'm kind of not feeling the depth as much these days, but I'm feeling the drifting a lot. I want to do so much content. There's so much that I want to create. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and roll over and face away from the cam while we finish up this. I wanna do car videos, I wanna do travel videos, I wanna film a bakery, I wanna film this thing about sheep that mow the grass around solar panels. I want to, there's a couple of political videos I wanna take on. I wanna experiment with VR and AR and extremely experimental type content. You guys are getting to see my backside right now. I know this is like super exciting. This is like the thing that y'all were the most pumped about, right? Getting to see Drifter's backside. But we got to do this. A lot of time, I kind of wanted to start this series doing the stretching off camera, but I feel like if anybody's following along with problems, and perhaps self-consciously, the whole internet will watch and judge you, that I should include this. I should at least just do this right. Even if it's slower, even if I'd rather do it in the morning. Physical therapy in depth? Nah, Proc. Can't you know physical therapy in depth? That's, I mean, kind of, that's already what I'm doing. So yeah, I guess I can do that. Lil E says, when did you start working out? I started working out in 7th grade. So that would be the year 2000. And I've more or less continued that habit, I'll say a little bit on and off over the course of my life. I do these back openers. These really do a lot of good for me because they help me rotate my low back in kind of a safe way. But I've been working out since then. Believe it or not, and I know the internet will tell you a lot of very negative and pejorative things about me and why I'm sick and I need to touch grass and beta male and soy and blah, 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 blah. But believe it or not, before I got sick, I was actually in the best shape of my life. I felt like that Bowflex commercial where that really shredded guy just shows up. He's like, I'm 30 years old and I'm in the best shape of my life thanks to Bowflex. That was me. I was stuck here in the pandemic in this room doing sit-ups, crunches, planks, squats, push-ups, anything I could do all day, every day. All core strength, all calisthenics, got very fit. And then the rug got pulled out from me. You know, you guys know my sob story, but bad things happened and all that work that I did disappeared in like 2 or 3 weeks. All my muscles just, I lost everything. So I've been working out for a long time. Even during the times of sickness, believe it or not, I know that you guys see the bed rig and the jokes about laying in bed, and I talk about it a lot too. You can ask J-Hub about this, or J-Wo, because they've both been here to see it, or Delta Change for that matter. I did indeed work out pretty much every day. I would at least come up here and do these stretches. I'm going to talk a little bit quieter because I think my voice is probably right on top of the cam there. I'm trying to just flex this low spine because it's super stiff. It just doesn't move properly. It's very neat to be able to watch my own technique and kind of like see how low down I can go. But even when I was like sick as a dog, I was always, we're gonna stretch these obliques, always working out. There were days I didn't have the, so I'm upstairs right now, and there were days I did not physically have the strength to go up the stairs like a normal person, so I would like crawl up here or lean on my wife or get somebody to help me up the stairs so that I could work out. Oh God. There we go, that's better. Yikes, that actually kind of sucked. So there's a lot of stuff like that. I've been doing it constantly. I haven't really been getting meaningful gains up until about a year ago. About a year ago, I got proper treatment and my body has started to return to normal. Is it normal? No. No, it's not, but it's trying. Can't wait to get back to being able to do clap push-ups. Hey man, well, good luck with that. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. Push-ups are specifically one of the exercises that are kind of forbidden for me because of how they bend the back. It's supposed to be really bad. All right, I don't know what kind of delay we're cooking with here, but I'll put it up to the chat and do one of two things. Number one is I can strap these to my ankles. I can walk over here to, where would it be? Either this wall, or I could get all close and personal over here, but you can't see me as much, and do a whole bunch of leg lifts to do my supporting muscles. Or if you guys want, we can just jump straight into squats. So you tell me where this stream has to go. Magnetic Freeze says, do you still rely on COD to be good every year? I don't rely on it, but it sure is nice. It makes my life a lot easier. But I don't know if I'm gonna be chasing COD next year. I think I'm sort of aging out. They need to send me to the old folks home. So let's see what the chat says. Squats or weights on my ankles? What do you guys prefer? But yeah, imagine if this stream had a VR component, where right now on this headset, you could flop and instantly be able to see me face to face. I think that would be super cool. I wish I could show you guys a little bit more of this. Hopefully in a week or two, we're gonna take the monitor, move it right up here so I can look directly into the camera while talking. But no, I don't rely on COD to be good every year, just a lot of years. Squads, I see what you've been typing more than anything else, Eric824. Squads, we don't have squads here. We got squats and we got leg raises. I can do one or the other. Tell me what to do. Not squads. Squat. Okay, we have exactly one vote for squatting. So that's probably gonna be what wins out. I'll give it like another 30 seconds while I prep the squat tool here. Where does this need to go? Honestly, you need to get out of the way. You're in the way. We gotta get a good shot for this. Everybody's like voting. I hate you guys. Thought for sure that you were gonna vote for leg raises because you haven't seen it. They're like, nah, dude. Show me some squats, man. We want to see your hams. Okay, so title is called Bare Minimum Discipline. My bare minimum has been 30. I've been trying to up that to 40 squats. Not an impressive amount. Can't do weights just yet because I got to work on stabilizers in my hips and low back. I realized as I'm setting this up, one thing I haven't done in a long time is squats in the middle of the room. I'm actually usually over here on the side somewhere so that I can more easily balance myself while doing this number, which is not super easy when you've got cankles like mine. Okay. No, stay. All right. So what makes these harder is that the floor is wobbly. So everything from your ankles all the way up to your hips are getting a little bit of extra work. So do it Buddhist style. Parsana, I think I've gotten one nuke and maybe 2 Moabs. That's pretty rare for me. I think it was just 4. I'm like spacing out and not counting. 5, 6. Kind of hit a point. I think one of the things about these workouts that are changing, 7, is that I used to do a lot of sort of small workouts, little stretches, little things, just things that would sort of activate muscles but not super work them. But I think I'm getting healthy enough where that's not as necessary as it once was. So, Dan, Auburn, welcome to the stream. So since it's not as necessary as it once was, what was I even talking about? Oh, so the small workouts. I've kind of just not been doing them. I've kind of been moving on toward bigger, more challenging things because I'm not getting benefit from them. Oh God. Okay. All right. Just for the sake of variety, you guys are going to get to see my side profile, which I can't even see. What's going to happen is that later today I'll go and review these very self-consciously and critique my own techniques quite hard. Boy, it is a lot easier to get on this over by the wall. That is not easy to balance at all. I do have adjustable dumbbells, but Nate, I'm telling you, I can bear almost no weight. It's so stupid. Like I'll go get a dumbbell and do some squats after that if you want, but okay. You guys are probably gonna tell me I'm pretty heavy on the front of my feet. And that's true, because I didn't exactly get the best footing on this. All right, it's just going crazy now. I'm gonna hurt my ankles at this rate. I've got to balance whatever I've got here. Might do the other ones by the wall. I'm actually kind of having a hard time getting started, and this thing's not helping. Just balancing for no reason here. Okay. That was 2 and 3. So what this helps me do the most is my ankles. Really, they're super weak. They're stupid. They're ridiculous. It's like, you know how you mow the grass and there was a divot? Be like 2-3 inches lower, and one day you'll step in the divot and like very slightly roll your ankle and be like, man, I'm stupid. And go on about your day. If I did that, it'd be like 2 or 3 weeks out of ankle pain for me. So everything about them is really stupid. So be very careful not to irritate all these things. Whoa. Okay, we're definitely moving back to the wall. I'm engaging in some unnecessary risk there. Nate Sath says, honestly, great form, knees over toes. I'm trying. Thank you. Appreciate the compliments. But you can probably see back here, this is 20 pounds. I haven't lifted this in so long. Yeah, I'm just not gonna pick that up. That's the truth. I know that's embarrassing. 20 pounds is not very much weight. I can already feel just from handling it that it's not very good. But no, like, yeah, I could do weights. I could get here and do squats like this, or I could just hold one in each arm, but the reality is that for whatever reason, my back doesn't really agree with there being very much weight. Weight has not been my friend, so, boy. You can see me not bending. You don't bend. Whoops, no bending. So I'll just do the squats over here then. Because my right ankle is a little stronger, so I can do that, lean against the wall, wobble over, and look at this. We're already, and this is solid. Hey, Adrian says, I'm actually working out in my garage right now, and I find this somewhat motivating. All right, Adrian, what can I do to bring that motivation up from somewhat? What can we do to bring it, ooh boy, that was embarrassing. From somewhat to like extremely motivating. If it were an American reality TV show, I would tell you a very sad story about how my grandmother can't afford her cancer treatment unless I win this baking competition. And that my motivation to win a reality TV show is to keep my family alive. That's American television. But let's be real. My grandma's already dead, so I gotta have a different motivation. I gotta have a different goal. I guess I'm beating around the bush and just talking to talk to fill airtime. My goal is to get out of the house more. Guys, I'm in here all the time. It's a really nice place. I love my house, but you stay in it all the time, it ends up feeling like a prison. Tries for the guys. All right, Adrian, I'll do some triceps. And pro perks, yep, here we go. This is one of the workout goals, build muscle, balance. So I'm trying to build balance, trying to build muscle, mostly core and stabilizer muscles. As you've noticed, I haven't really bent. Like when I bend to pick things up, you kind of do more like this, because my back doesn't really go forward, at least not safely. So my goal is to build enough strength in my core to be able to bend the back a little bit more safely, to balance myself better, have less pain, and most importantly, be able to get out of my house more before I go full crazy here. Mark, I don't know what crazy fives are. And anything called crazy is probably not something that I need to be doing. I need to be doing like your grandma's workout that she found in the AARP magazine. You know, like, my workout category is like senior citizen, okay? We can't be doing crazy anything. Hip hinge movements, yep, that's what we're about to do. That's what we're about to do, pro perks, I hope you're pro parks. Whoever doesn't like public parks can't be a friend of mine. Just preserving nature and its beauty, that just matters to me. Like, I remember growing up, the trend in my neighborhood was for people to cut down all these old trees and just have perfectly green manicured lawns with like a swing set or something. And the house would just bake in the heat, it would just fry. So we're in Mississippi. My dad and I, who agree on almost nothing ever, both agreed that it was really sad that people were cutting down all the trees and destroying the nature in favor of what was essentially a golf course like front lawn. And we both agreed the world would be a better place if there were a lot more trees around. So in that regard, we're both very pro parks, but not pro perks. Okay, I think that was 10. I'm spacing out here a little bit and getting kind of tired. I need a minute to walk around my cell. Okay. Missed the Black Ops 2 200-0 domination live streams. Man, Celtics, you've been here a minute. I kind of don't. They were fun for a little bit. And that was back in the day when people could easily join. It turned into a disaster. You'll see me rage and be so mad and butthurt about so many things. Banana Kev, good to see you. What were you thinking about? I remember, here's a fun story while I move on to the next workout. I actually have to step off of camera because my seat for strapping the weights around my legs is over here on the side. So you guys are gonna have to give me, I can't even see if I'm in frame, so I don't know what's going on here. Most of my frame is cut off because it's a 720p monitor. Trying to get strap number 1 on my cankles. I had a thought, we were gonna go somewhere, it was gonna be story time. Oh yes, yes, the 200-0 live streams. Hey Danny D, good to see you. And during that time, I wanted to get 200-0 domination live streams as like a public match challenge, could have been fun. Fans, of course, stream sniped, stream joined, whatever. And I did what any reasonable person would do, which is block, mute, whole party appears offline. We kind of went through every step in the book. I remember there were like 4 or 5, you set your whole account to private. There were like all these different things you had to do to not get joined on. Thank you, Danny. Hey, God bless you, Keith. I decided no painkillers for me. All right, so now you guys are gonna get to see my backside. I'm gonna spread them prison style while I talk about this story. But yeah, so I was having a hard time on Xbox Live. It's 3. People kept joining, they were trolling. So it was really easy to DDoS as well. So I was getting some of that. We had to stream with a VPN, and it kept getting worse and worse. So I remember I was actually at E3 in Los Angeles. I think we're at the Yard House. And I want to say it was Claire Jeep Chick or somebody from the Activision team introduced me to the Xbox Live enforcement team, like the safety, security, privacy, I think that's 4 team. The guys that oversee everything that I was having a problem with. So I started talking to the guys about it, asking what the solution was or if there was a workaround. And their answer to me was, Well, just block them. We'll just mute them. We'll appear offline. We'll change. I was like, dude, I did all these things. They're still finding ways to join. There's like an issue with the security protocols you've set in place because people can still join. Well, perhaps it was a social faux pas. Perhaps I was being unnecessarily aggressive, but I continued to push the issue to impress to the Xbox team that there was a major unresolved privacy issue. They got really mad and snappily told me to, just play another game. And my answer was like, I don't want to do that. I want to get on Call of Duty and not have people like DDoS me and call me the N-word and stuff. No, or just general harassment. That's sort of the go-to these days, just it's Xbox. And they tell me, no, you just play a different game. They're like, look straight in my eyes, like you should quit Call of Duty and just play single player games if that's a problem for you. And in a big huff and puff, the Xbox team got up and just left the table to get away from me. Like I was the asshole. Maybe I was, I don't know. It was very frustrating. I know that at E3 people are looking to party, just kind of vibe. Maybe not always looking to work, and I get that. I didn't think that I was being that pushy or aggressive or weird. Not too worried about it. I mean, this was like a 2014, maybe 2013 kind of problem. What did I just do? I think I just did 5 on each leg for some reason. Because I'm thinking about my story instead of the exercise. Over here by the wall, it probably sounds echoey to you guys because the microphone will echo off the wall. Okay, that's 2 sets. We'll try to do 3. We're gonna loop back around. I mean, they have a point, dude. I don't agree. So the Batman Who Laughs is like, if you can't play games, if you don't have fun, play a different game, right? But the reason I couldn't have fun wasn't because I didn't like the game. It wasn't because the lobbies were bad. It was because when I logged on to Xbox, I would get DDoSed immediately and my whole house would lose internet. People would wait for me to stream just to ruin it and do other things. I was getting blown up and nothing I could do, no privacy setting worked. Even if you made a different gamer tag, they could just join off that one. So I feel that the onus was on the team, the security team, to provide an environment where I can get online and not instantly get DDoSed. I don't think that's a me problem, just personally. Got a bunch more of these to do, so hold up everybody. We're gonna do these back ones. This doesn't look super amazing, I know. I probably look like a much, like those 80s fitness instructor. Just because I have the bands on my legs, I'm thinking, what is it, aerobics, like jazzercise? I have all these ladies in like pink spandex, they put like 2-pound weights on their legs and be like, all right ladies, time for leg lifts, and they do this. You'd be watching it in a trashy 80s movie and the camera would get like right here up in the cheeks, shamelessly. The Substance was like that too. I don't know how many of you guys saw The Substance. Excellent movie. Absolutely shameless cinematography. I have seen the camera further away from private parts in adult films. They really got all up in there. Ah, gotcha, Batman Who Laughs. No worries at all. Electable B, good to see you. Good to see you. Adam Stewart says, yeah, that's what we need. Y'all want some more man buns in your day? I can provide that. So I'm pretty sure these are also really good for supporting low back, hips, all that kind of stuff. It's gonna hurt like hell at the end of the day. It always does. But the idea, I think that was 8, is that over time, that soreness fades into bigger muscles that better support all of my very special needs. I feel very special needs, not necessarily in the mental way, so don't take it that way, but everywhere I go, I need some kind of special accommodation, or I'm on some very strict time limit, or I get there and the chairs are just like a hard wooden bench with no back support, and I'm like, cool, what am I supposed to do? Like, how do I navigate that when it hurts me so bad? Got a bunch more of these to go. Oh God. Jamal says, watching from the gym. Keep up the grit, Drift. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jamal. You too. Hey, if you're in the gym, that's good for you. Hey, JWO Designs, good to see you. Oh yeah, that's the command. That's the sad story command right there. Next commentary, wealth inequality. Oh, don't tempt me. When I get my NDI camera set up, I'll be able to do everything wirelessly. I'll take you into the studio and show you the idea board. If you're talking about next content, I'm gonna be fighting the devil here. Gotta keep my feet in for this one. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna reveal the tattoo. I need more art to show off on my body. So we just do this. Just doing raises, it's nothing fancy, just with a little bit of extra weight. I could do them with things in my hands, but the physical therapist always kind of had me do them this way. Have you ever done that exercise face down on the floor? Yeah, that's how I got my last and most final back injury. Can't do the face down on the floor thing. I learned the hard way. That's very bad. But I've got commentaries I want to do. I've talked about all these on stream. I've got a couple of interesting opportunities to interview people, a lot of very spicy, controversial people. I want to do a video on subscription services and vehicles. I want to do a video on smart TVs, their advertising, how they spy on you, and how they're one of the #1 tools of data brokers. The Japanese scientist who invented a way for people to breathe out of their butt. It's very real. You can breathe out of your anus. That sounds fascinating to me. Would love to make a video on that. I want to make a video about a local bakery, about sheep, about VR stuff. I want to do bed saver. I want to do all this stuff. I want to do more than I'm actually going to do. And a lot of it is Yorms. Hey dude, good luck on that body weight exercise. It's worth, man. It pays off. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, but it has to be more strategically aligned with the channel. I kind of just want to live up to my name and be Drifter and just do this incredible variety of content. Just something to where you would never know what to expect from me. Something, every time is something wild and different. And I personally like that. And in creators, I can also appreciate that. But most viewers don't. Most viewers like a consistent thing. That's why YouTube encourages niches and repetitive shows like In Depth or Joe Rogan Experience number 900,000 something. It's a repetitive experience. It's really reliable. I value the variety. The variety tends to run people away. So what I'm going to have to do is both. I'm either going to have to pick a show that allows me to do variety within the context of the show to keep a consistent theme, or I'm going to have to make a show with no variety as the anchor point for me to build this additional content around. So, kind of tricky. Not ideal. I'm gonna have to adjust this ankle bracelet after the next one's here. Yep. As I mentioned before, and I'll mention on every stream until it comes out, we have Firearms content coming soon. Very high production value video about firearms, shooting a whole bunch of really rare, expensive, mostly Call of Duty oriented weapons, full auto, grenades, etc. Members are going to get early access to that, and members are also going to be the only people that can see the full auto version, because YouTube will give me a community strike if I just do mag dump stuff. Aki, I don't understand what it is that you wrote there. Thought you were watching Huggabees, how it's actually made. Well, I don't get the joke, Peter. And I also don't know what's going on with Aki. So I need to do a third set of all these. First, I'm going to take a seat on my bum. Got my Black Ops 4 towel I'm going to wipe my 5 head with. Yeah, you saw some of the shooting with full auto? Yeah, there is some full auto on the channel with the AUG and P90 and stuff. Yeah, we basically did a little bit more of that, but outdoors, more details, more fun. Hired director Neil Bloomberg? Yeah. Fun story. He used to follow me on Twitter and we would chat sometimes. I was talking to him during the Oats days and I think something went wrong. He unfollowed a bunch of people. He didn't like me. Probably didn't like my spam posts on Twitter. But yeah, I used to talk to Neil Bloomberg. Or was it Neil Blomkamp? Apologies. Neil Bloomberg's the mayor of New York. Blomkamp. These dang names. Yes, Mr. Blomkamp and I used to have chats infrequently, so it is actually a possibility that I could hire him, though I know the joke is kind of like what Moist Critical did. They just probably got him in for a cameo. I still like Neil Blomkamp. His work is very impressive. I liked what he tried to do with Oats Studios. I liked most of the shorts. I wish they had gone somewhere. I think he kind of wanted to do like a Studio Trigger fan funding kind of model, and it did not pan out at all. It would have been really nice. The Oats Studios had this really cool one about a Vietnamese man who accidentally turned into a god, and the CIA hiring this psychopathic, basically Vietnam-era Black Ops soldier to wield a weapon that shot bullets through time to kill him. I felt like we were really going places. It also had a lot to say about the nature of war, especially the Vietnam one, of course, because that's where it's set. We got Harris, says, hey Drift, greetings from Greece. Happy to see you in good health. Hey, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be in good health. Just got here, Corvo Constantine says, how's the exercising? It's going. As you can see from the title, today is sort of like bare minimum day. See how long I can hold. Probably not very long. I know that's not gonna last. I'm gonna go over here. Show you guys a whole new side of the thighs. Thank you all for coming out and hanging out with me. I'm gonna try to use these streams as a motivator to be more consistent. I think I've done a good job at being consistent. But one of the weird things I'm running into is that as I get healthier, I don't have a desire to come in here and work out. Like when I have extra strength, I want to go out in the world and spend it and do something and have fun and be somewhere. I'm usually not as excited about, like, oh man, you know, you wake up this morning, it's like, I don't feel like death today. I'm not fatigued, I can breathe. My joints are only moderately painful. What should we do? My brain's like, it's like, dude, go to the VR arcade. Dude, let's go to a restaurant and get some good food. Hey, let's go to that giant half-price books in downtown Dallas that's 2 stories tall and dig through there and see if we can find some first editions or something. Nah. I want to do stuff like that. I don't want to film things. I don't want to necessarily spend it all on working out. Oh yeah, I get to touch those thighs tomorrow. Good. If you want, JWO, I can not shower tonight and leave them extra sweaty. Get that real raw smell to them, you know what I mean? And Parasana says, any tips to improve attention span? All right, the whole chat's gonna hate me for this one. You're all gonna hate me. Get off of TikTok. You can tell I'm getting tired because I didn't even want to bend over to move this thing. A lot of old people grabby guns in this house. Kind of got them sitting around almost everywhere. But no, I'm joking, but short form social media is not great for attention span. There's actually this weird paradox between both short and long, both being quite bad for attention. So short form, as we talked about, sort of like gets you addicted to those dopamine cycles. It kind of breaks you, gets your brain to be expecting that sort of hit of rush of information. It makes it harder for you to focus on something that's boring because your brain is conditioned to never experience boring. and it does a lot to hijack your emotional regulation system. But on the other end of the spectrum, there's also something very interesting going on. Very interesting, by the way, I haven't even asked this yet. For those of you that are here right now, would you please do me a favor and drop a like on this video? Something as simple and as small as a single like can go a very long way, and I would appreciate any and all of your support. Favorite subject, math or science? Definitely science. Okay, so on the other end of this spectrum, on long form, what am I doing? Am I going to do arm stuff? I need to do floor stuff. When you're looking at something like podcasts, right? You could obviously pick on something like Joe Rogan Experience, who's the most popular one on the planet. But there's a bunch of podcasts out there. Hey, Celtic Sin, thank you for choosing to become a member. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support, my man. Yep, Keith M's really good about keeping it in silence. Hey, thank you, Posen. Appreciate it. And thank you, Celtic. Appreciate it. Hey, there's a more extended version of the Pine Park video you should now be able to see if you have 18 plus enabled. And anyway, okay. Now this is where I'm going to start crying. How do I need a timer. Okay. When you start watching, when you start watching podcasts that kind of go on forever and ever, a lot of times what people do is put them on for background noise. And they'll settle into the background and you can listen and kind of keep up with the story, and you become very familiar with the host and the voices and things. And other than being a great tool to influence opinions, these same podcasts can also be something that cause you to lower your subconscious barriers or skepticisms or doubts, and you'll just sort of have it going and not be thinking about it and kind of take in anything that's going on in the background. A lot like what used to happen when I would watch Critical Role with my wife. So I wasn't super into Critical Role. Didn't like it, didn't get it, wasn't necessarily for me. And what would happen is my wife would put on Critical Role in the evening and play it. I kind of didn't care. I'd tune it out and I would go to bed. But I would still listen to Critical Role as I was sleeping. And it would fade into the background to the point where, when I would sleep, I would dream whatever the plot was going on in Critical Role, more or less, such that even if I fell asleep in the first 30 minutes of the episode, I could wake up in the morning. No, I didn't fart. I'll claim it, Mr. Origami, if I farted. And I'd wake up in the morning and still be able to remember all the plot details of Critical Role. I could tell my wife, not exactly, but pretty close to what happened in the show and in what order, and because I was dreaming it. And in the same kind of way, if you're watching a lot of podcasts and sort of background noise type shows, it can also be disarming. It can cause you to get used to zoning out. It can also cause you to get used to just opening yourself up to information without critical examination. So I find that there are problems on both ends of the extremes of content, for both very, very short and very, very long. Slightly different dangers. Shit. I didn't start my timer. I have no idea how long I've been doing this. That's not good, but I have to whisper here because I know it's close to the mic. The mic is just in my face. Don't even have a conversation topic. Oh God. All right, I'm giving out. I don't know how long I did it for, but I gave out. Fuck. I need to do better than that. I need to do better than that. Okay, that one was bad. We're gonna take just a minute. We're gonna need to take a minute, catch our breaths, reconstitute. Eos, I agree with you on your assessment of planks. Airborne Aquarium says, what is your favorite and least favorite score streak in Black Ops 2? Favorite was the AGR, probably, because it was really funny. Least favorite was the drone swarm, because it was very annoying. Farsana Sayama says, how long do you give yourself to think before making life-saving decisions? Probably not long enough. That's the truth. I'm probably not doing it for long enough. I try to be really conservative in decision making, slow to act, lots of time analyzing, and I still don't feel that I put in enough time or do a proper enough analysis. I think I am far too often just sort of winging it, and I shouldn't be. I should be doing better than that. Cherry picking next? I don't know what that is. What does getting mogged mean? I'm too old for that. You can see the grays in my hair. What is mogging? Somebody's gonna make fun of me for that for sure, but that's okay. Fuck me. Not literally, you guys will get too excited. All right. Okay, this time I'm going to start the timer properly. But yeah, are there any topics that you guys would like to hear about? Something to keep my mind focused on? Try to not move this body. Hello, I think it said pickle cakes. I couldn't see the name. The angle's a little funny. I'm giving out so early today. So early. All right, I'm only making 35 seconds. Okay, that's all I'm gonna make. Yeah, dude, I've had a bald spot for a long time. It's just not often on camera. It's not something I'm really excited to show off. Prickly Cactus was the person in the chat. Okay, cool. Oh, God. Corvo Constantine says, what do you think would make a good COD game? More dev time. More dev time and a ground-up rebuild would make a good COD game. Prasanna says, the confidence with which ChatGPT provides wrong medical information is mind-boggling. Same of the Google AI. What's mind-boggling is how many people just take it. Whatever ChatGPT, I couldn't tell you how many times I'd be in a conversation about, I don't know, guys, the moon orbits the Earth and the Earth orbits the sun, and somebody would be like, nah, see, I put that in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said blah, 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 as if ChatGPT is an authority. Funny how Googling information used to be an authority before they swapped the focus to AI and to ad serves. Their text SEO and everything else got worse. So to me, it's not. Thank you, Lunacy, I appreciate it. And I also am hoping for a speedy recovery. And Lunacy, I hope the topics I'm talking about are not particularly educational. I feel like they're pretty normal ones. If money wasn't an issue, would you invest in hair implants? Probably not. I'm probably just going to accept the aging that I get as it comes, as is, as a part of life and whatever. Even if it makes I'm going full bald or gray or whatever. I do think AI is going to be life-changing in the future, and we have a question of what makes a bad COD game. Lag, inconsistency, disappearing bullets, packet loss, easy to cheat in, bad spawns, weird weapon balancing, anti-fun mechanics, strict meta. That's pretty easy to do. Martin Hubinet, type in ! health. I've looked up the McGill Big Three. I can't do very many of them. I got a 2-piece spine, and like 80% of ab exercises that cause you to move your spine would cause me to lose use of my legs. So I'm very limited in that regard. Side plank. Persona, yeah, I also have to look for Reddit for information, and that's terrible because Reddit's not a good source of information. Like, not really good, reliable. It can be inconsistently. It can be inconsistently very useful, but you have to read Reddit with the same degree of skepticism that you would an AI summary, because AIs have flooded into Reddit. Subreddits that used to be fun, like Am I the Asshole or AITAH, is now AI the Asshole, because it's all AI posts. Yep, Keith, that's a dependency. Google gives me, hold up, Prickly Cactus says, Google gives me obviously incorrect info all the time, lol. Just don't read the first thing that comes up. I know, but I'm terrible about it. I was telling my wife about this. I don't want to read the AI search results, but they're at the very top and I read really fast. So like the moment it pops up, I'm already reading it. I'm already taking that information in. Do you guys remember how many of these I did? I think I did 3. Maybe another 4th is left. But yeah, the scary thing is about how much people trust it. Like, it's annoying to me, but I'm not scared by people trusting medical advice from TikTok. I'm scared that they trust that more than their doctor and will ignore pretty standard medical treatments in favor of TikTok advice. I'm afraid that they trust it that much. Like for AI, I don't hate artists that use AI to fill in some gaps, to do some rough spots, to give you some prompts, some tools to work with. That's fine. You can use AI as a baseline for a lot of things. But the full relying upon it to, I couldn't tell you. So this isn't my problem. My brother-in-law is an engineer and he works at a company I'll just say is redacted because it does a lot of high-end contracts with the government and other big companies and things I don't even want to talk about here. And said that they're having a problem with their junior engineers needing to solve a problem like, oh, can we measure the angular velocity on this turbine for our cooling plant? Like, you know, real-time monitor. So what you're supposed to do is like write a script to take the inputs, put it into like a little math equation and get the angular velocity out. I'm making this up, by the way. What I think is reasonable to do is to go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to do it. Look at the work to get an idea of the structure and spend a little bit of time checking it for errors and then test run to see if it works. That's fine, that's reasonable. What a ton of younger engineers are doing is taking whatever ChatGPT says, copy, paste, submit, project is done, didn't read anything. So when something goes wrong, oh, you know, it's ChatGPT's fault. It's terrible. Nice Swine says, Drifter, been watching since 2014 roughly, and your progress as a creator in person motivates me to be the best I can be. Thank you for staying committed and never forget your worth. Thank you. I needed to hear that. It's good to get compliments sometimes. And what's your opinion on VR? I love it, Corvo. I love VR. I don't think it's anywhere close to where it needs to be yet. It's still very expensive, very niche, very difficult to approach. There's no set standards for content. There's tons of problems with it. I can't stop playing though. There's so many flaws with VR. I don't know if JWO Designs is still here, but she'll tell you I am shameless. So there is one thing about VR that I think a lot of people are missing out on, and that's cannabis. Yeah, if the problem is if an AI doctor screws up, who's going to be held accountable? Exactly, you'll have to sue the company. Anyway, we're talking about VR. Yeah, I love it. So VR is also an imperfect technology. It has a lot of little flaws. All right, we're going to kind of do some light arm stuff today to kind of wind this down. I'm just going to do some things. Actually, we're going to go even lighter. I'm just going to do like shoulder activations, keep it loose, get the blood flowing. You know how it is. I'm going to come back to that. Hold up. iPad OpSec says, Yo, Drifter, I've grown up watching since the 2012 MW3 era. I was 9 and now I'm 21, dude. Love the commentaries, dude. Thank you. Hopefully I was able to be a positive influence. And Empire Reb is completely correct, saying when most college can be done with AI, don't be surprised that new workers only know how to use AI to get work done. Yeah, college professors are using it for grading too. Yeah, and Martin is correct. We don't want to go all Dune machine war. We don't want to become reliant on AI to do our thinking for us. That's a huge one. We want AI to help us think, to help us focus, to solve some problems that human brains are not well equipped for. We don't want it to be doing our thinking for us, our real serious thinking. Anyway, we had a question about VR. One thing that makes VR go from, hey, that's really neat, to a transcendent experience is about 25 milligrams of THC. That has been my experience. I like VR sober, don't get me wrong, I do plenty of that. But becoming intoxicated, primarily on cannabis plants, especially if I'm lucky enough to get a strain that's more psychoactive, I love that stuff, gets me in just the right mood to just slip into the VR and just sort of pretend I'm there. I know I'm not really slashing notes out of the air with lightsabers and Beat Saber. I know that, no, I'm really not at the EDM dance festival on the stage with all the people, but I'm just high enough to not think about that too much and just slide right in and just sort of vibe with it and feel with it and be there. And that's one thing I really like. So I like watching documentaries. I like watching some travel videos, some educational ones, going places and doing things, right? One of the things I love about VR, when filmed in high enough quality in the right conditions and blah, 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 is that it can put you anywhere. It can put you front row seats to any concert, behind the stage or behind the scenes of any event, on a movie set, out in the wild. You can just walk out into this sort of really nice digital world that is a facsimile and a close one of the very real world. I can hear it though, I can transcend you. Corvo Constantine. I agree, Emperor Reb, we do need to do that. And yeah, I feel your prickly cats. Cannabis isn't always the most motivating thing to do. We have a question about animes you watch, quite a lot of them. I watch a lot of the common ones, Dan to Dan, Demon Slayer, Solo Leveling we watched recently, Sakamoto Days, Way of a House Husband. I just impulsively watched all of Hell's Paradise in like one day. I just tore through the entire thing. So I watch a lot of anime. Not sure which one in particular you're looking for. How far do you think we are from Ready Player One? We're pretty far, Lumos. We're pretty far. We are getting there. And Nice Swine says, VR is demotivating for me. The setup for the Rift S is wonk. The troubleshooting demotivates me before I even get to play half the time. A marvelous technology, but maybe I just need more THC oil. Yes. And no thinking, I'm not trying to get bigger, I'm trying to get more functional strength. Functional strength. And I would recommend upgrading over the Rift S. I know they're expensive and stuff. The Rift S is very old technology and it doesn't have very good support, and the setup is very wonky. I'd strongly recommend getting the Quest 3 or Quest 3S from Meta. They're the easiest things to set up. There's no cameras or anything. All the cameras are on the headsets. You just slide it on, room scale tracking. I use mine just with hand commands. It tracks your hands really well, so I can like conduct. I don't use the controllers very much. It's very nice. Bacon Bro says, hey Adrift, been watching you since the old days of Modern Warfare 2. Currently working on my own fitness as well. Wishing you the best. Thank you, Bacon Bro. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, that neurotic motivation. You're right, prickly cats. So, okay, so I also read all of the manga or manhwa for Solo Leveling, which was probably even better. And Bacon Bro, hold up, nope. Keith M, does THC help with your pain? You ever use it to help work out? It can make you post-workout feel good, dope, yeah. So I used to. That's the truth, is that I'm gonna do just some shoulder shrugs with these, is that I used to use THC before I would run, or I didn't do swimming, that never felt right. Or before I was gonna do like a leg day or like a heavy weight day, and everything you talk about was right. It made it less painful. I was very motivated, I get me a nice like sativa, get all gassed up, go to the gym. Oh God, my shoulders are kind of giving out. Hold up, we're gonna slow our roll. Oh, you're not gonna be a piece of shit on stream now today, are you? That's what I mean. I'm doing almost nothing over here and they still don't wanna be very durable. Totally spacing out. So there was a downside of using cannabis with exercise, which for me I considered a very big downside, is that since I could not feel the pain, and it did also make me very slightly worse at balance, it made me more willing to like pump heavier weights and just like, you know, I'd bench more and squat more and deadlift more. But what I was kind of doing is ignoring some of my body's pain and also being a little bit more reckless than I should be off of cannabis. And I noticed that I was pushing myself too far and decided to no longer use cannabis for exercise. Any tips for young adults in general? If you need a topic, I'll give you one. I got one, that's great. Are you able to use others like valve controllers with the Quest 3? I haven't tried that, Nico. I really haven't. I should try that. Okay, so let's do our very basic arm exercises here. Any tips for young adults in general? Well, let's go over here so I can make it look good. I would recommend sunscreen. If you are anywhere close to the color that I am, sunscreen is going to be your friend, especially for your face. Keep your face from getting suntanned, you'll stay looking young a lot longer. So most of the advice you're going to get for younger people is about maintenance. Because what's going to happen is at a certain point in your life, your body, you're going to notice, is not going to recover the way it should. It's going to be longer, slower, worse. You have to work out harder to get the same gains. You don't have the same energy. You don't process alcohol as well. Your life difficulty just starts ramping up. So a lot of the advice that you'll get from me and other people are all about maintaining parts of your body so that as you get older, they decay less or more slowly or more healthily than most people. Or money tips. Another fantastic money tip I can give you. Hold on, Lumos, I'm glad you like solo leveling. That's what I liked about it, the character development. Just like you said, he didn't start off that awesome. He had to go through a trial and train his way up and earn all that power. Anyway, another big good piece of advice, I think I'm doing curls, I'm so spacing out right now, I'm getting so tired, is to start investing your money early in the stock market. That's how a lot of the old machinima guys built their wealth, is that they were able to put like 500K in the stock market in 2010 and it blew up over time. I know a lot of people that have done really well. It doesn't matter that much what you're investing in as long as it's normal. I would say as long as it's index funds. So what you're going to want to do is pick some percentage of your income that you can spare. Is 5% great? If you can spare half, that's great. Every time you get a paycheck, which would be about once or twice a month, put a little bit of money into an index fund. I recommend some Vanguard index funds. There's some Fidelity 500s. There's the standard S&P 500. There's SPY. TQQQ is a very interesting one, though it bears more risk. And every time you get a paycheck, I don't know what your paycheck is, even if it's like 50 bucks that you have to spare, you want to throw that into an index fund and never, ever even look at it. Don't even think about the money. Once you throw it in there, it's gone. It doesn't exist. Bye-bye. And that's because you're going to do that every week and every month for something like 15 years. And the reason that's going to matter is because by the time you get my age, what you're finally going to do is be like, you know, I haven't really looked at this fund in a long time. I've just been automatically sending to it. And you're going to peek in there and be like, $1.5 million, how did that happen? Well, you're constantly putting money in and compound interest, and maybe 1.5 is a little generous for after only 15 years. You'd have to contribute $100,000 a year. But the point still holds that it will grow, and it'll grow quite handsomely and compound and do nice things without you really having to do a lot about it. And that 50 bucks a month is a handful of less beers, a few less pre-rolls. You know, you cook in 2 more times instead of eating out. stuff like that. I'm trying to do these. These are really tricky for me. These are like my tricep exercises. I don't even know what I'm counting to. So that's really good advice. Another one, equally important, and I swear this isn't just me, is to take care of your back. If you lose your health, all the money in the world means nothing. I'm doing pretty well for myself, as you can see here. Still not happy because I don't have my health. Don't blow up your health. And the number one problem that human beings have because of our biology, because of how we were built, is, you should probably see my scar back here, low back pain in this region, because you think you have ribs, 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 no ribs, kind of like down here, the ribs end. And all of this, a solid 100 pounds of upper body weight, is balancing on a bone about yon big that has the flex. So it's a very common area for injury. So while you're young, maintaining good flexibility is very important. Keeping your weight low, maintaining good core strength, sort of the basic stuff I'm doing, the calisthenics and whatever, will prevent you from having horrible back pain when you get old. You don't want that. Scissor, I have invested into crypto. I don't like XRP. I don't like crypto in general. I've invested into it. My first investment into crypto went poorly. My second one went even more poorly. My third one I made a pretty substantial amount of money on that more than covered the losses for the first two. Came out a little bit net positive. I didn't get rich on crypto. I wasn't one of those guys that bought like 500 Bitcoins in 2009 or whatever the heck when they first came out. I don't like the market. I don't think crypto has very much inherent value. It's sort of a hype market or meme market, which I don't like. I'll tell you, I don't like the markets in general. I know you'll see I'm like, oh, markets are irrational, and markets people will make irrational choices and skew the market a little bit. Our markets in the US have all turned into meme stocks. I'll keep the politicking down to a minimum, but when the president gets on Truth Social and announces new policy changes at random times of the day or night, the market massively up or massively down, or different stocks move in different bizarre directions based on administrative policies. Same kind of thing like Elon makes announcements with Tesla and SpaceX and his stocks go up and down. GameStop is a meme stock. I realize there's a lot of money to be made in those, and why a lot of traders like them is because of the high degree of volatility means there's a lot of potential. For me, it's really irritating to see billions or trillions of dollars moving around tweets and memes and projections on the internet of what people thought should happen. And the funniest one was some guy who had a fake verified parody account announcing policy changes that caused the market to do crazy stuff, and then when it was discovered it was fake, it all got undone. I hate that. It drives me crazy. Just like my personal pet peeve. I cannot stand irrational behavior like that. It drives me nuts. Bacon Bro says you can't go wrong following a simple skincare routine. Cleanser, moisturizer, and sun protection. Yep, that's what I've done. I wash my face once a day. I put moisturizer on once a day. Try not to let it get sunburned too bad. It'll still get sunburned. I just try not to let it happen too bad. It's been 17 minutes since I started my last timer. All right, guys, I think I'm kind of fading out here. Starting to fizzle. Kind of getting near the end of the stream. If you could go back in time, what would you do different to save your back? Well, if I could go back in time to before my spine broke, I would quit playing high school football completely. The primary injury that would get worse over time with the back was related to playing combat sports, which, despite what the internet might say about this soy boy, I always did enjoy a good round of fisticuffs and aggressive combat. That was sort of my thing, and I paid a price for it. Terrible one. I would also stretch more, and I would probably work out my core more. And in my particularly unique case, I would immediately go to the doctor and demand that my vitamin B1 levels get checked. I would get my hormone levels checked. That's testosterone, estrogen, estradiol is what they're measuring, prolactin, LH, all that kind of stuff. And I would pitch a gigantic fit until they tested me for the tick-borne illnesses that I have or had recently and cleared out. I'd be really interested to see if it was congenital and there as a child, or if I got tested in like a time travel and test and like, hey, you didn't have that, you got it as an adult. That'd be the kind of good thing to know. I would do a lot of different things about my health. I would also not take Zoloft ever, and I would choose a different path for treating the nightmares. Anyway, you ever play airsoft or paintball? Both. I like both. They're both a little different, but they're both very fun. Also do real guns. And Ryan Jensen, good to see you. So just popping in, want to catch what you think about the Texas weed ban. You want to move states for the marijuana. All right, we'll make that our very last topic of conversation today. While you're all here, do me a solid and drop a like on this video. It'll help push through to a few more people when it becomes a VOD. The Texas cannabis ban, very depressing. Essentially, cannabis has been tolerated here and allowed because there are versions of it that kind of get around the Farm Bill. But recently, oh yes, Prasanna, I definitely feel more breathless because I have to talk the whole time I'm doing these. What are we doing? All right, so mirror force. What am I trying to do? Texas cannabis ban before I did. Texas cannabis ban is depressing. They're going to be banning basically every form of THC except CBD and CBG. They'll tell you that there is a Texas compassionate care program for people to get medical cannabis if they need it. I think there's only maybe like 1,000 or so people in the entire state that qualified for the program. There's some 20 some odd doctors that administer it, so you have to go to doctors that were sort of handpicked by the government. The cannabis they give you is something like 1% THC. It's basically hemp, it does nothing. And I swear the program is set up to punish people trying to provide that sort of medical care, because the rules are extremely strict about transportation and growing and everything, and the people I know get hassled all the time about it. But that's very depressing. So there's no medical, not really any medical cannabis in Texas at all. So veterans with PTSD, people that have nerve or back pain, people that have cancer or seizures or anything else, the state of Texas said, go fuck yourself. Hey you, veteran over there with horrible back pain, a brain injury, and PTSD that needs marijuana to function, go fuck yourself. Go take some opiates. That's how our state is. It's like, hey look, a child with cancer, fuck that kid. They can't have any medicine. They can go get fucked. They can take this other stuff from the hospital with 18 side effects that'll make you sick as hell. That's how our state's operating. I really don't like it. It's depressing. If cannabis gets fully banned here, I'm probably going to have to move. Being a public person, I can't keep illegal things in my house because weirdos are calling the police and sending people here all the time. It's always a hassle. So that's just a stupid thing to do. So if I can't have the medicine that I need, that I use to treat myself, and I use cannabis for, it was 4 purposes, now 3. So I'll say, roll back the clock a year or 2. It sort of dampened my nervous system to kill the 24/7 sensation of burning, or at least lessen it. Helped with the joint pain, helped relax my muscles and relieve enough pain for me to sleep. And I have night terrors and nightmares for most of my life, but if I have cannabis before bed, I don't have those. So basically I was able to use it to relieve pain enough to be able to sleep, just to sleep. And I know it's like, oh, it's dependency and you don't want to do that, but look, man, when you feel like you're on fire and being stabbed, you need something. It was very minimal, mostly side effect. The biggest side effect is I ate junk food and I watched more Adult Swim. Oh my God, what a sin. Yeah, Keith M says, so here, have Vicodin instead. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. I like my insurance rates in Texas. I tested positive for cannabis once because I smoked weed at E3, okay? And because of that, I got put in the pool of people in Texas that are crack addicts, heroin addicts, crystal meth addicts, all that kind of stuff. So I pay out the ass for insurance. I'm considered an addict because once 8 years ago, I used cannabis in California. Anyway, I have strong opinions about that. I really hate it. And I really hate that people are treating something, it's really, I would say for religious reasons, but it's personal and political. But the Bible, to be clear, has nothing against cannabis. So that's very weird to me as well. Anyway, I'll ramble a bit. We've had a good time here. I need to lay down, rest up. Lunch will be here for me in a little bit. It was good streaming for all of you. I hope you all had a great time. I hope you enjoyed the topics of conversation. Yeah, SB, God forbid we have regulated dispensaries instead of street weed. God forbid we have something that's safe. The same reason we got rid of our needle exchange sites. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. I'm gonna dip. I'll catch you guys later. Drifter out.